These are my custom brick-built display racks that I use for displaying all of my Speed Champions cars, both Generation 2 and Generation 1. In this video, I'm going to focus on Gen 2 cars, which are the 8 and 9 stud wide cars produced from 2020 onward. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know of how to build these yourself, discuss modularity, handling instructions, everything you need to know. So let's get started. First off, I will introduce you to each version of these displays, then discuss the differences between them. Next, I'll provide step-by-step instructions on how you can upgrade these yourself, as well as build them from scratch. And later on in the video, I'll give you a full user guide on how to handle the displays, add, subtract cars to this modular system, and some suggestions on stacking. This vertical display system has proven to work for all 40 Gen 2 cars, including the 10 newest from 2024. So here's what you're looking at. This is version 2. I did tutorials on this in the past, and this is the version I've been using up to this point. This is an upgraded version 2 to include the driver displayed outside of the car. Perhaps we can call this version 2.1. I'll show you different options for customizing version 2 if you want to stick with the classic design. And this is version 3, which provides the highest quality of display with reduced parts and improved functionality. I like to think that as LEGO improves upon the Speed Champions theme, so do my custom displays. The improvements came from hours upon hours of tweaking to make these easy to build, look good, and function well. Some improvements are a result of viewer feedback, which is much appreciated. Let's start the tutorial by modding the current version 2. I'm going to remove the car so it's easier for me to swap out the tiles, and then I'll remove the minifigure from the car. But basically, I'm just adding a minifigure stand for each car, so we can display the driver out in front. And what you'll be left with this mod is a 1x4 tile. This one is easy, right? Get the driver out of the car and display them. But you want to put the car back into place first. I'm going to have to go back in all of my parts to find hair pieces for the drivers. So I'll have them holding the helmet and then put their hairpiece on. I think that provides the best look and makes the set complete, keeping the hairpiece with the driver. Okay, I think I found the proper hairpiece for the driver. The pieces I'm going to use to make the driver hold the helmet are these ones, a stud and this piece with the bar. I'm going to attach them together. I'll put the part IDs for these in the description of the video. Then I'll just connect it to her hand, connect the helmet to the stud, and I think that looks good. Now let's move on to the next car. The arrangement of tiles will differ from car to car, depending on where the wheel sits. So I can't just simply remove a 1x4 tile here, but I can rearrange these to make it work. See, I need a 1x1 there. Got a 1x1 right here. Switch that over. And there we go. Left over with the 1x4 tile. Let's put the car back into place. And there's the minifigure. The way that I've got the tiling work done for the Competizione and the Pagani Utopia are the same, so I'll just show one. Rearrange some tiling work, add the minifigure stand. See, I want to get that 1x1 out of there. Swap it over here. remove one of the 1x4 tiles. We'll slide this over and remove this one. So I got that interlocking going on between the two plates there. Get the driver out. I'll need to find the hairpiece for this guy. Put the car back in. Driver in his spot. The Skyline is a very easy one because I just simply remove this tile, put the new minifigure stand in, put this slope back into place. Let's get Brian out. And there we go. So that's the improved version 2. Now you may be asking at this point, why am I showing you how to improve version 2 when there's a version 3? Well, there's one advantage of version 2 over 3, and it's the stacking height. And I'll demonstrate that more later in this video. But you can see that this has more parts involved, right? With this middle runner and the CMF plates going across versus version 3. It's more slimmed down and more economical. So with that, version 2 still has the advantage of stacking height stability. Now let's check out the advantages of version 3. It's a studless design, which greatly improves aesthetics. Everything's tiled over except for the studs the driver stands on. And with the middle runner removed and the CMF stands, it gives kind of a floating effect and just looks good in my opinion. Functionality has been improved too, and I'll demonstrate that now. So I've swapped out the 1x2 by 2/3 slopes with cheese slopes, and that's to avoid interference with some cars, that they kind of make contact there and the wheels don't go all the way into the groove, so it kind of slides around a little bit. It really didn't bother me up to this point until I found that the cheese slopes actually improve it. And you know, the front of the F1 LM right here rests on those studs. However, if I move it over to version 3, I don't have any clearance issues. The wheels, they're in place. They're pretty much locked into place with those cheese slopes. So we've got no clearance issues here. So yeah, I think that's a pretty big improvement. I'm now going to show you how to convert from version 2 to version 3. And then afterwards, I'll show you how to build this from scratch. There are 3 major components to the tower. The first being the platform, which a car rests on, the leg supports, and the cap. The cap, how to convert it is you just remove the middle runner. I can do that without taking the car off. Just remove that middle runner and then add 2 2x2 tiles to finish that off. And that's done. The legs aren't going to change from version 2 to 3, but the platform will. So let's go ahead and peel that cap off, take the legs off, remove the car and driver, and then what you do is just peel the platform off to remove it. And now let's modify the platform. Okay, so you actually didn't need those extra 2x2 tiles for the cap. You could reuse the 2x6 tiles that we peeled off earlier, but I just used the 2x2s for symmetry purposes. Now let's get on to converting the platform. These are the extra pieces you'll need for version 3. You can pause your screen right now. Otherwise, I'll include the part IDs in the description of this video. The first thing I'm going to do is remove all of the pieces in the middle here. We'll reuse these 2x4 tiles, as well as 2 of the 2x6 plates. Though I'm not going to reuse the minifigure stands, I'll find use for them in another application. Alright, so let's take this 2x6 plate, attach 2x4 tiles to it, and place it in line where the wheels will sit. Alright, let's do that again. Alright, right there. In version 3, I don't use these 2x2 plates anymore. They're not really needed. I'm going to be swapping out the 1x tiles with 2x tiles. I'm going to do that for 2 reasons. The first being covering up all of the studs, but the second reason is for structural purposes, for better interlocking of these plates here. That'll hold it together a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is swap all of the 1x4s with 2x4s. These slopes, I'll change those out to cheese slopes. This 1x1, change it out to a 1x2. Again, 1x4, swap that out with a 2x4. A 1x2, swap it out with the 2x2. Swap these out with cheese slopes. 1x3 tile, swap it out for a 2x3 tile. Over here, I'm going to do the same thing. All right, I had a 1x1 right here. I'm going to use the 1x2 that I just took off right there. And then I'll need another 1x2, which I have already. Put that right there. Put the 2x2 plate with the 2 studs right here for the minifigure. And then the 1x4 that we took off, we'll put it there, and these pieces will go on these studs right here. And there were 2 more 1x1s. Okay, actually I used plates, but they should be tiles to cover up these studs right here. There we go. That completes the conversion. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to build version 3 from scratch. What I'm going to do is tear down this entire tower and rebuild it in front of you. Also, while I'm tearing it down, let me just demonstrate a couple things. You don't have to tear it down to access cars. So you can just pull out the car you want and then put it back in. That's no problem at all for any of them. But if you want to tear it down properly, neatly, you could either remove all of the cars at once or just go layer by layer. Peel the cap off, legs, and then just slowly peel off each platform. Doesn't matter which car you build, these are the parts you're going to need every time for building the platform. So let's go ahead and build a platform for the G-Wagon. I'll start with these longest plates. And those will be for the sides. Now, I'm going to need the G-Wagon to see where the wheels are going to sit. Just make sure those are lined up. I'll just use these legs to temporarily hold those in place. All right. You'll want to center it onto this platform. You can temporarily put the legs in to make sure that they don't interfere with the vehicle. Okay, next you're going to mark where the wheels are going to sit with the G-slopes. Right here. Okay, let's see. And right here. Okay, now that we know where the wheels are going to go, things will be a little bit easier. I'll show you how to build those legs in a moment. All right, let's start connecting some plates. We'll use the 2x6 plates, 2x4 tiles, and put them where they need to go right there in line with the wheel rests. Same thing over here. All right, we could put those G-slopes in on the other side. Okay, the plate that's used for holding the minifigure, it'll always be in this place. Leave 2 studs open on the ends for the leg supports, which will go right here. We'll fill in that stud with a 1x1 tile on all 4 corners. And now we just want to utilize all of these tiles to cover up all of the studs. And I like to have some symmetry going. Obviously, we need to connect these 2 halves. So we'll do our best in interlocking. How about we use the 2x4 tile here. All right, looks good. All right, that's a good spot for more 2x4 tiles. All right, I don't have another 2x4, but what I could do is this. All right, so it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical because of the minifigure stand right there. Let's see. Okay, actually, I'll move this 1x1 tile over there so I can fit my 1x4 there. So it's a little bit of a game of Tetris there with the tiling work. But that completes the platform for the G-Wagon. I'll show you another example. I've got the same pieces, but this time I'm going to build a platform for the Aston Martin F1 car. Start with the longest plates again. All right. Let's see. Let's straighten those out a bit, get them even. All right, let's put the G-slope right there. Front wheel right here. Okay. All right, let's connect some plates. By the way, you can build these display units in other colors if you'd like. It doesn't have to be white. It could be black, or possibly orange for McLaren cars, or red Ferrari for Ferrari. I guess whatever floats your boat. All right, I'm just putting the pieces where I know they'll go, and then fill up the unknown afterwards. Okay. All right, I can use some 1x2s to fill up those areas. I could use the 1x4 to fill this up. 1x2. Yeah, let's do this. All right. There we go. Now that we've got all of the platforms built, it's time to work on the legs. I've got 7 of these 2x2 corner bricks, and that's the standard height that I've been using for each car. There are some exceptions, such as the G-Wagon, I use 10. The Bronco, I believe I use 9. The Lamborghini Urus, I use 8, as well as the Jaguar I-Pace e-Trophy. I'll put all of that information in the description. But let's do something different. Let's put the G-Wagon on top. I never tried it. It's very heavy, so we'll see how it works out. Should be fine, as long as we're not building too tall. Then the tower will get all wobbly. Okay, I'm going to take the G-Wagon off the platform for a moment. Until I secure it into place. All right, here we go. All right, here's the legs with extra height. You can also, if you don't have the corner bricks, you can, substitute pieces as needed. All right, now I'm going to show you how to build the cap. These are the pieces you need to build the cap. Again, let's start with those plates. It's going to be like this. All right, we'll take these 2x6 plates, 2x4 tiles, a 2x2 tile in between, and we'll place it like this. Leave space for a 2x2 tile over there. Same thing on this side. All right. Let's be symmetrical about this. We'll save these long tiles for the interlocking. And that's the cap. There we go. G-Wagon on top is not that bad. Next, what I'm going to do is discuss handling procedures and the modularity aspect. So we could add and subtract cars. They don't always have to be stacked 5 tall. Now when you're handling these, if you want to move this whole tower around, hold it from where the second platform sits. I always find that be the most stable point. You don't want to squeeze in the middle of the legs here, but right here, that's the ideal spot to hold it and carry it around. So let's go ahead, take one of these cars off and move it on top of this tower. So how I would go about that, we probably should just do it step by step. Move the cap, the legs. All right, let's remove this cap so we can put a car on top. Here, we could cap this at 4. When you're moving things around, make sure that everything's connected. You don't want to have a loose piece and the whole tower falls down. There we go, a tower of 6. The last thing I want to discuss in this video are stacking limitations. And this is something I have not tried with version 3. You're going to see me do this for the very first time. So on the left, I've got version 3. On the right, version 2. So version 2, I've got full confidence in stacking 10 cars tall. Let's do it now. Normally I would recommend only stacking 1 car at a time, but version 2, I've got pretty high confidence in the construction. There we go, 10 cars tall on version 2. All right, let's add, we've got 6 cars on version 3, let's add 4 more. This one, I'm a little bit wary about. Okay, I think we're good. Very precarious. I recommend limiting the tower for version 3 to 5 or 6 cars tall. For version 2, you can go a bit higher. 10, it's already a little bit wobbly. If you do stack this tall, put it up against a wall in a low traffic area where there's no pet access or child access. It could still tip over easily, so you want to be careful where you put it. Anyway, that does it for this tutorial video. Let me know in the comments which version you liked best. Thanks for watching.